Have you ever paused to consider the unfathomable being crafted in utter perfection, radiating breathtaking beauty, privileged to stand in the very presence of God's majestic throne? Why would such a being possessed of everything imaginable willingly choose rebellion? It seems paradoxical, almost inconceivable. If you were granted unparalleled glory, boundless power, a position of supreme honor and universal admiration, why would you ever jeopardize it all, casting it aside like a worthless trinket? Yet this is precisely the path Lucifer chose. Now brace yourself for a potentially unsettling truth. The very inclination, the subtle undercurrent that led to Lucifer's cataclysmic downfall, is a struggle that each of us in our own way confronts today. The pivotal question, therefore, isn't simply, why did Lucifer fall? The truly significant question is, how does his ancient story resonate within my own heart? What echoes of his choices can I detect in my own struggles? Stay with me as we delve deeper, for once you grasp the genesis of it all, your perception of temptation, pride, and even your personal battles will be irrevocably transformed. Before we embark on this illuminating exploration, allow me to extend a warm welcome to Bible Mysteries, your portal to uncovering the profound, often hidden narratives and truths embedded within the Scriptures, presented in a way you've likely never encountered before. If you're joining us for the first time, please take a moment to show your support by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon to ensure you never miss an episode as we unravel the next captivating mystery together. Now close your eyes for a moment and journey with me into a realm untouched by the stain of sin. Imagine a universe of pristine purity where rebellion is non-existent, pain is unknown, and suffering is but a distant, unrealized possibility. Picture instead a state of absolute perfection suffused with radiant glory. Visualize the very essence of God permeating every facet of existence. The heavens are not silent, but vibrantly alive, teeming with countless celestial beings, angels whose voices rise in harmonious choirs and whose wings shimmer with an ethereal fiery glow. Their songs resonate with harmonies so profound and intricate that they surpass our earthly comprehension. Each moment is an act of spontaneous worship, every breath an expression of fervent adoration. At the epicenter of this boundless ocean of light, one angel shines with unparalleled brilliance. His name is Lucifer, a name that once signified light-bringer. It is at this juncture that many often miss a crucial point. We tend to immediately equate Lucifer with the devil, the serpent, the ultimate embodiment of evil. However, before his descent into darkness, he was an entirely different being, a creature of breathtaking magnificence. He was exquisite, possessing an unparalleled beauty and enveloped in divine glory. The prophet Ezekiel, in the 28th chapter of his book, offers us a profound glimpse into Lucifer's original state. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering, ruby topaz and diamond beryl onyx and jasper sapphire emerald and carbuncle. And crafted in gold were your settings and your engravings. On the day that you were created, they were prepared. You were an anointed cherub who covers. I placed you. You were on the holy mountain of God. In the midst of the stones of fire you walked. Consider the implications of these words. He was not simply an angel among many, but rather the very pinnacle of angelic creation, the embodiment of perfection, the ultimate masterpiece among the heavenly host. Envision him adorned with a dazzling array of precious jewels, each stone reflecting the very essence of God's light. Imagine emeralds and sapphires encircling him, golden settings meticulously shaping his form, and diamonds blazing across his very being. If we were privileged to witness him in his pre-fallen state, we might be tempted to offer him worship, so overwhelming was his glory. Yet his magnificence extended beyond mere physical beauty. Lucifer was endowed with wisdom, intellect, and power that surpassed all earthly comprehension. He was a guardian cherub holding one of the highest ranks within the celestial hierarchy. His position was so intimately connected to God that he literally stood upon the holy mountain, the very epicenter of God's radiant glory. Imagine the profound significance of that. Every moment of every day, Lucifer existed in the direct presence of the Almighty. He breathed in God's glory, reflected it, and served as a living mirror of divine brilliance. Moreover, some theologians and biblical scholars suggest that Lucifer served as heaven's primary worship leader, that his very being was an instrument divinely crafted to produce heavenly sounds of praise. Ezekiel's reference to settings and mountings made of gold lends credence to this idea, as the Hebrew terminology alludes to musical instruments, suggesting that Lucifer himself was designed to emit harmonious sounds with every movement. Can you hear it in your mind's ear? Can you visualize an angel whose every step resonated with melodic beauty, whose every gesture produced a symphony that filled the heavens with rapturous worship? The sound was not merely around him, it emanated from within him. It was him. Now, permit me to pose a question. If you were created with such unparalleled beauty, such extraordinary brilliance, and such profound honor, how would you truly feel? Wouldn't you be tempted to believe yourself untouchable, elevated above the ordinary, uniquely special? And here lies the haunting paradox. Lucifer was special, undeniably so. God had indeed created him as the most radiant of all his creations. He was universally admired by the angelic host, exalted in his position, and held in the highest esteem. He possessed everything imaginable. However, it is at this juncture that the tension begins to build. For paradoxically, when one possesses everything, a subtle, insidious thought can begin to take root. If I am truly this glorious, if I possess such extraordinary power, if I am privileged to stand so close to God himself, why am I still subservient to him? Why can I not ascend to an even higher position? This seemingly insignificant thought, this subtle whisper of pride, constituted the first crack in the otherwise flawless glass of his being. But for now, let us hold on to the image Lucifer before the fall. He is heaven's brightest light, the morning star, the light bringer adorned with precious jewels, radiating an otherworldly beauty, overflowing with divine sound and standing in proximity to the very throne of God. Lucifer's story does not originate in the realm of darkness. It begins in the purest, most dazzling light. And perhaps that is the most profoundly chilling aspect of the entire narrative. Visualize it once more. Lucifer, heaven's radiant morning star, possesses everything beauty that defies description, wisdom that surpasses that of any other angel, a voice capable of moving the very heavens, and a seat of honor near the throne of God. But then imperceptibly something shifts. It is challenging for us to fathom how pride could even germinate in a place as perfect as heaven. How could arrogance take root in a heart that stood daily in the presence of the Almighty, yet inexplicably it did? This is precisely what renders Lucifer's story so profoundly haunting. Isaiah 14:12-14 offers us a glimpse into the inner workings of his mind. How you are fallen from heaven, O day star, son of dawn! How you are cut down to the ground, you who laid the nations low! You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven. Above the stars of God, I will set my throne on high. I will sit on the mount of assembly in the far reaches of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Do you recognize the recurring pattern? I will ascend. I will raise. I will sit. I will. I will. I will. The focus is solely on I. Lucifer gazed upon his own beauty, his own power, his own divinely bestowed gifts, and instead of reflecting the glory back to God, he began to hoard it for himself, clinging to it as if it were solely his own creation. Pride coiled within him like a venomous serpent, a shadow growing steadily larger in the very presence of light. And this is where Lucifer's story becomes profoundly relevant to our own lives. Is this not precisely what pride does within us? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, "Why should I be forced to listen? Why should I be compelled to submit? Why can I not be in complete control?" That is the very same voice that first whispered in Lucifer's heart. Ponder this. Lucifer's fall was not precipitated by weakness or by external temptation. His downfall originated within his own heart. This is the inherent danger of pride. It does not always manifest as overt arrogance. It often begins as a subtle whisper, an insidious thought, a barely perceptible longing for something more. Once it takes root, it has the potential to destroy everything in its path. Lucifer began to believe that his beauty, his wisdom, his sound, and his glory were all solely his own accomplishments. He conveniently forgot that every jewel that adorned his body, every note in his celestial song, and every spark of light that illuminated his being originated from God. He desired the throne. He craved the worship. He thirsted for the power. He was no longer content to merely exist in close proximity to God. He aspired to be God. And so the unthinkable transpired in the most perfect realm in existence. Sin was born. It did not originate in a garden or on the earth, but within the very heart of heaven itself. The prophet Ezekiel states in 28:17, "Your heart was proud because of your beauty. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor." That is a chilling revelation, isn't it? His very perfection became the instrument of his downfall, and his blessings transformed into a self-inflicted curse. Allow me to ask, how frequently do our own strengths, our talents, our inherent beauty, and our intellectual prowess become the very catalysts that lead us astray? How often does pride in our own gifts blind us to the true source, the ultimate giver of those gifts? Lucifer's story serves as the ultimate cautionary tale. Pride does not merely make one arrogant, it blinds one to the truth. It deceives us into believing that we are self-made, that we have achieved our successes through our own efforts alone. It whispers that we deserve more than we have been given, that we are entitled to greater recognition and reward. It subtly, imperceptibly turns our gaze away from God and redirects it inward, focusing solely on ourselves. And here is the crucial question that we must all grapple with. If pride could take root in the most radiant, beautiful angel in all of creation, is it not equally capable of taking root within us? Lucifer's heart was no longer pure, and what began as a fleeting thought gradually transformed into an all-consuming ambition. Ambition morphed into an insatiable desire, and that desire ultimately culminated in open rebellion. And rebellion by its very nature can never remain a private affair for long. For the next stage in this unfolding tragedy involves Lucifer taking his pride and actively disseminating it, whispering it into the ears of others, turning angels against their own creator, and igniting the first cosmic war the universe had ever witnessed. It began as a whisper, a subtle insinuation. Lucifer did not announce his rebellion to the heavens overnight. He was far too wise for such an impetuous act. Remember, this was an angel who was described as being full of wisdom. If he intended to rise against the very throne of God, he understood that he would have to proceed with meticulous care and strategic planning. Thus he began subtly with hushed conversations, carefully phrased questions, and the planting of tiny seeds of doubt in the minds of other angels. Have you ever questioned why God retains all the glory solely for himself? Why are we perpetually bowing in submission, always serving? Are we not also beings of immense power? Do you not believe that we are deserving of more recognition, more honor, and more authority? Can you hear the echoes of the serpent's words in the Garden of Eden? Did God really say? Lucifer's rebellion commenced with lies, but these were lies artfully woven with enough truth to render them plausible and convincing. He was undeniably beautiful. He was extraordinarily wise. He was possessed of immense power. Therefore, why should he not be exalted to an even higher position? And slowly, insidiously, angels began to listen, to consider his words, and to question the established order. Consider the magnitude of this: angels who had never known sin, who had only ever witnessed perfection, began to doubt the very God who had created them. This illustrates just how persuasive Lucifer was and the insidious power of pride. Revelation 12:4 reveals a shocking statistic. His tail swept down a third of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. A third of the angelic host, millions upon millions of celestial beings, chose to follow Lucifer in his rebellion. Can you begin to comprehend the sheer scale of this celestial betrayal? Heaven itself was divided. Angels who had once been united in harmonious worship were now torn asunder by betrayal and deception. But rebellion by its very nature cannot remain concealed indefinitely. The moment inevitably arrived when Lucifer's pride erupted into open defiance. He boldly declared that his throne would ascend above God's, that he would sit on the mount of the congregation, and that he would make himself equal to the Most High. And upon that declaration, the first war in heaven commenced. Revelation 12:78 vividly describes the ensuing conflict. Now war arose in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon. And the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. Pause for a moment and allow those words to sink deeply into your mind. War in heaven. Endeavor to visualize it, the clash of beings of pure light, the deafening roar of voices, and the sound of immense power colliding. Michael the archangel, leading the faithful host of heaven against Lucifer, now known as the dragon, leading the rebellious forces. It was not a battle waged with swords and shields, but rather a conflict of power, authority, and glory. The universe had never before witnessed anything remotely similar. And here is a profound truth to consider. Even in heaven, where every being had directly witnessed God's glory, the freedom of choice remained. Free will existed, and some chose the path of rebellion. What about us? Are we not confronted with similar choices every day? Do we choose to bow in submission to God's will, or do we rebel and forge our own path? Do we choose to follow God's way, or do we stubbornly insist on our own way? Lucifer's story is not as distant from our own as we might prefer to believe. The battle raged fiercely, but in the end, there was never any real contest. From the very moment that Lucifer pitted himself against the Almighty, his ultimate defeat was inevitable. Revelation 12:9 tells us, "And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent, who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him." Heaven could no longer contain him. Lucifer and his followers were cast out, expelled from the realm of light. The brightest light became the darkest shadow, and the morning star transformed into the adversary. Lucifer became Satan, the embodiment of the enemy. And it is at this juncture that the story takes an even more chilling turn. Once cast down from heaven, Satan's malevolent gaze turned toward a new target, you and me. When Lucifer was cast out of heaven, he did not simply retreat into silence, nor did he withdraw into the shadows to lick his wounds in defeat. Instead, his fury burned with an even greater intensity than before. Revelation 12:12 issues a stark warning. "But woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil has come down to you in great wrath, because he knows that his time is short." Consider that. Satan had been hurled down from heaven, and his unbridled fury demanded a target. And whom did he perceive God's newest creation, humanity, you and me? Imagine his perspective. The devil, once clothed in jewels, once basking in heavenly sound, once standing in proximity to the very throne of God, was now cast down, stripped of all honor and exiled from glory. And then, in the midst of his agonizing fall, he saw us weak and fragile humans, yet made in the very image of God. Can you feel the sting of that? To Lucifer, it must have been unbearable. The God whom he hated had created beings of flesh and bone, fragile and limited creatures formed from dust. And yet God had bestowed upon them something that Lucifer no longer possessed: the privilege of walking in intimate communion with God. Moreover, God had granted mankind authority and dominion over the earth, a place in his eternal plan. Therefore, Satan made his choice. If he could not directly overthrow God, he would attack what God loved most. He would corrupt mankind, poison God's image-bearers, and twist the world into a state of rebellion, mirroring the rebellion that had transpired in heaven. And so, the serpent entered the Garden of Eden. Genesis 3 recounts the moment the serpent, more cunning than any other creature, approached Eve, and just as he had done with the angels, planted a seed of doubt in her mind. Did God really say, "You shall not eat of any tree in the garden"? Do you recognize the familiar pattern? The same whispers, the same insidious strategy twist the truth, create doubt, and insinuate that God is withholding something desirable. Eve hesitated, but the serpent pressed further. "You will not surely die," the serpent assured her. "For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Do you perceive the connection? The very same desire that had corrupted Lucifer, "I will be like the Most High," was now being offered to mankind. And just as pride had destroyed Lucifer, pride deceived Adam and Eve. They reached for something more than what they had been given. They yearned to be like God. And in that fateful moment, humanity fell. But here is the part that truly resonates. Satan was not merely satisfied with their act of disobedience. He sought to destroy their intimate relationship with God, shatter their innocence, and force them to experience the same separation from God that he now endured. And he succeeded. Sin entered the world. The same rebellion that had originated in heaven had now infected the earth. And here we stand thousands of years later, still grappling with the consequences. Death, suffering, evil, all can be traced back to that original act of rebellion, a rebellion that began within the heart of one angel. Allow me to ask, do you recognize just how personal this war truly is? Satan is not merely attacking mankind randomly. He is targeting us because of what we represent. Every time he gazes upon you, he sees the image of God. Every time he sees you, he is reminded of the love he rejected, the glory he lost, and the destiny he can never reclaim. This is the reason for his relentless hatred, his constant lies, and the overwhelming weight of the struggles you sometimes face in your life. To Satan, you are not simply another human being. You are a constant reminder of everything he has lost. So what have we uncovered today? We've journeyed from the dazzling light of heaven to the shadow of the fall, understanding that the seeds of pride and rebellion, the very same ones that led to Lucifer's demise, are a battle we all face within our own hearts. Recognizing this struggle is the first step toward guarding ourselves against its destructive power. It's a powerful and sometimes uncomfortable truth, but one that can lead us to deeper self-awareness and a stronger connection with God. But this is just the beginning. We've only scratched the surface of this profound mystery. There's so much more to explore, and in part 2, we'll delve even deeper into the implications of Lucifer's fall and how we can apply these lessons to our daily lives. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What resonated with you the most in this video? Do you have any questions or insights to share? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation together. And if you found this exploration thought-provoking and want to join us as we unravel more Bible mysteries, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. That way, you won't miss part 2 of Lucifer's story or any of our future videos. We're excited to continue this journey with you.